In this video, we build one thing end-to-end, a production-ready chat completion endpoint on Azure OpenAI Service. By the end, you'll understand the difference between a model and a deployment, how to pick a region, when to choose standard versus provisioned throughput, and how token per minute quotas actually gate your traffic. We'll wire in a managed identity so there are no keys floating around, then verify the whole thing responds. Stick with me and you'll be able to rebuild this from memory. First, the mental model. At the bottom is the Azure OpenAI resource itself, a regional account with its own endpoint and Azure role-based access control. On top of that, you create deployments. A deployment is a named instance of a specific model version, for example, GPT-4o or text, embedding 3 large, and your application calls the deployment name, not the model name directly. Each deployment carries a quota, measured in tokens per minute, TPM, and requests per minute that scale with it. Get this layering right and everything else falls into place. The resource is your security and networking boundary. The deployment is your throughput and versioning unit. Step 1. Create the resource. Region matters more than people expect because model availability differs by region and your quota is allocated per region per subscription. Check the current model availability table in the Azure docs before you commit, since it changes often. Step 2. Request access to the models you need if your subscription requires it. Step 3. Create your deployment in Azure AI Foundry or with the command line, choosing the exact model and version. Pin the version explicitly rather than auto-update, so a model refresh never silently changes your output behavior in production. Now the key decision, which deployment type? Standard is pay-as-you-go, build per token, with shared capacity and quota expressed in tokens per minute. It's ideal for variable or early-stage workloads. Provisioned Throughput (PTU) reserves dedicated capacity for predictable latency and a flat hourly or monthly cost. You buy throughput units upfront. As a rule of thumb, start on standard, measure your sustained tokens per minute and latency needs, and only move to provisioned once traffic is steady and high enough to justify the reservation. There's also a global versus regional flavor that trades data residency for broader capacity. So confirm current pricing and options in the docs. Let's make quotas concrete. When you create a standard deployment, you assign it a slice of your region's token per minute quota. That number sets a rolling limit. Exceed it and the service returns HTTP 429 with a retry-after header. Requests per minute are derived from your TPM allocation, so a tiny deployment can throttle on burst even when total tokens look fine. 2 practical moves. Implement exponential backoff that honors retry-after and split quota across multiple deployments or regions for resilience. If you genuinely need more, file a quota increase request, which is a separate ask from model access. Now lock it down. Avoid API keys in production. Instead, assign your application a managed identity and grant it the Cognitive Services OpenAI User role on the resource, then authenticate with Azure Active Directory tokens through the Azure Identity Library. For network isolation, disable public access and put a private endpoint in front of the resource, so traffic stays on your virtual network. Add diagnostic settings to stream request logs and token usage to log analytics, which you'll want for both cost tracking and abuse detection. Time to confirm. Send a chat completion call to your endpoint, targeting the deployment name with an Azure AD token rather than a key. A 200 with a generated message means the path is healthy. Check the response usage block to see prompt and completion tokens against your quota. Then deliberately hammer it past your TPM limit and confirm you get a clean 429 your retry logic handles. Finally, open log analytics and verify the request and token metrics are flowing. If all 4 pass, you have a working, observable, secure deployment. Quick recap. The resource is your regional security boundary. The deployment is a named version pinned model with its own token per minute quota, and your app always calls the deployment name. Choose standard first, measure, then move to provisioned throughput only when traffic justifies it. Secure with managed identity and a private endpoint, and design your client for 429s from day one. Your one concrete takeaway: pin the model version on every deployment because an unpinned model can change behavior under you without warning. And since regions, models, and pricing shift constantly, always confirm the current Azure docs before you commit. Build it, verify it, ship it. If this helped, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next video.